Inspire.fm.
Hello, thank you for tuning in. This is Jana on Inspire.fm, and this is my show called Conscious Creation. And the show is a lot about creating your ideal life and creating your ideal results. And this is a show where no topics are off limits, so we can literally talk about everything. But today we're going to talk a little bit about business. So I've had a lot of distinctions lately in business and creating your ideal business, creating your ideal clients, etc. And what I'm talking about today is taking action versus being in action. Okay? So we live in this world and we're constantly told, go out, be somebody, do something, go accomplish, be more than you are now. And that makes a lot of sense because humans really thrive when they're growing, expanding, and learning. But the distinction that I'm talking about is being in action. So often we go out and we try to take blind action, just do everything that business has always done before. Cold call people, chase after clients, corporate calls, sales calls, whatever you need to do. Right? And what I find is people naturally react to your energy. It's why sometimes when I get a phone call and I hear it's a salesman, I have this urge to run away. Right? And it's just all about the energy that you carry. Right? So being in action, my distinction is when you're being, right? You're meditating in action. So you're not just taking action. Right? I find that when I just take action for taking action's sake or for trying to gain results, the action is fruitless at times. It's like a 50-50 chance that I'll get clients or customers or any kind of business. But if I'm being in action, the right action will come up from within. It's like inspired action. And a lot of times it's not what at least in my experience, it's not what a lot of people do in business. So, like for example, I have a conscious creation gathering every Saturday now. It is donation only. I'll tell you more about that later. But what I have found in the promotion line is that people always say, call, ask people to refer, do this, that, and the other. And every time I would go to do that, I felt a bit of resistance. And resistance can feel like a bit of apprehension, a bit of not wanting to do something. And I'd feel that every time I had to call. So I figured, this is my business. I'm going to do it my way. And one day I was meditating on the question, what's the right course of action? And the answer came, the path of least resistance for me, which is SMSing and emailing. And so I just started doing that. I didn't call people to chase them or get them to commit over the phone. While this may work for some people, it wasn't working for me per se. And there's nothing wrong if you're doing that in your business. It's just I had resistance doing that. It felt like a cold call to me. And though I'm a very talkative person and I really love generating new business, I'm very particular on how I do it. So what I learned is that for me, if I send SMS and email, I get more and more people. So instead of treating it like sales, I treated it as an invitation. So now my group has grown so much that I had to move it out of my humble home into a more professional venue because I just don't have the space. And it's still growing. And every week I have new people coming in, which is really great for me. And the best part is at the end of the conscious creation group, I never sell them. I invite them. I say, oh, and by the way, we're having a workshop, on this date. And through there, I generate more sales. And this was a big distinction I got. And looking back on my business, I remember in the very beginning, we would set some really big goals. We want to generate X amount of dollars and get this amount of people in our network and so on and so forth. And it felt a bit like force, right? So you've heard me talk about the distinctions between power and force, also a book by Dr. David Hawkins. And I noted that when I first started off Wisdom Inc., which is the name of my company, a few years ago, it was very much from force. It was very much I did work in order to generate income, in order to make a living. And what I found is it's very forceful to me. However, when I shifted, when I was doing the work as an extension of my love and joy, when I was doing it just because it felt good, then I had a complete change in results, right? So before, we were doing corporate training as well, and I would do everything I knew you could do to generate corporate sales, which included cold calling companies and sending our profile and doing this, that, and the other, and to no avail. And then one day I said, okay, I'm going to just sit and be, and let's see what comes up. So I was just being with my question, right? So ask an empowering question. This is a key to it. You must ask an empowering question. And I got this answer. Start holding free 2-hour previews. And through there, we actually started generating some clients, and I was really happy. Since then, I've actually closed down the corporate side for the time being temporarily because I do enjoy conscious creation so much more. And it is kind of like my star program for the moment. And it is really an extension of my love and joy. But this was just some insights that I had from my own business. So how do you know if you're coming from power or force in your business? Well, you can ask yourself whenever you're about to take an action. 1, do I feel any resistance? Or 2, am I doing this action only to generate results? And even if you're doing it only to generate results, don't worry. That doesn't mean that it's all forceful and that it'll be fruitless. It's just good to be aware. Conscious creation, it's a lot about being mindful and being aware of why you're doing things, right? So there are times when I take action and I'm doing it to generate, right? Certain things like sending out an email or a newsletter, right? But most of the time, I'm in a space of love when I do it. Right? So it's because I want to sit down and send out a newsletter. It's because I want to send out an SMS, not because, I have to. The minute you come from that space, I have to, or I have to generate some results, it's very much force, and there could be resistance, those emotions of resistance. So it's good to be careful and to be mindful of those. And if you're coming from power, it's effortless. So I find there are days when I just want to sit and be. And when it comes to work, I as much as I love my job and I love my business, there are some days that I just want to sit and be. And then a few days will go by of sitting and being. And after that, I find I have all this inspired action coming out of me. So I've had days where I cannot get away from my computer because it feels so good to sit down and do my work. So that would be very much a space of power. So don't fight it, okay? Now, someone asked me, what's the difference between being lazy and being restful, right? I don't have a full answer for that, but this is what I found in myself. It might be true for you, it might not. When I'm lazy, it's because I'm resisting something. It's like I should do some work. That old word should, which implies resistance to what is. And when I'm restful, it's very much coming from a space of loving myself, of taking care of myself first so that I can take care of others around me and my business included, right? So when you're flying on an airplane, they always say, mothers or parents always put the oxygen mask on yourself first, then only put it on your children. Because at the end of the day, if you're not taking care of yourself, who's going to take care of your children? Right? So this is very much coming from a space of love. I'm noticing I'm really exhausted, I'm really tired, or I really just want to rest and be. Well, then listen to yourself. That's very much power. Where lazy is like procrastination. It's like you don't want to do something, which is resistance, which is force. It's like, you should do something, that awful word should. Okay, I really saw resistance to the word should. But should, or thinking or saying should, it implies resistance to what is. So be careful of it. When you're being lazy or procrastinating, ask, what is it that I'm resisting? Is it the action? And let it go, right? So what space are you coming from when you enter the action? Are you coming from power? Is the action an extension of your love and joy? Or is it force? Oh, I have to do this, or I should do this, or it would be right to do this. And you can still do things that need to be done, and it doesn't have to be resistant, yeah? So that's my segment for today. For those of you who are interested, I'm having a conscious creation gathering. It's a weekly gathering held every Saturday in Kuala Lumpur. The address is 137A, 3.5 Mile Old Clank Road, 58000. It's at the Globe Success Learning Office. Please call me or write me an email. My email is jana@wisdom-ink.com, or you can SMS me at +6 012 667 0365. Again, the Conscious Creation Weekly Gathering, it's donation only. It's really like a free support group for people to come and work on their conscious creations together with like-minded people. So please come if this would interest you. Thank you so much. This is Jana Marino on Conscious Creation on Inspire.fm. Have a great day. Happy manifesting.
Inspire.fm